Okay. All right. Who's laying claim to this one?
I'm not laying claim, but I happen to know it's Gary's, and I don't think he's here today.
Oh, okay.
It is the White House.
Oh, it is?
Yep.
Oh.
He calls it new sights on an old building.
Right. Okay. I see somebody there with a sniper rifle.
Yeah.
Okay. Any views, thoughts? Nobody's got anything to say.
It's a little dark.
White House isn't very white.
Well, there's a good thought.
What would the histogram look like?
The subject is, you know, you have more information to judge from, huh? It is very, very almost monotone.
Yeah.
Almost. So.
Oh, the clouds come out nicely, and it's. I think it'd be really hard to get a white building without a lot of dodging or burning to get the clouds and the white house.
And
Yeah, I don't know whether that was taken in black and white or if it was originally in color, but if it was originally in color, you could probably make some significant changes when you convert it to black and white in Photoshop.
Right.
And I like the fact
I like the silhouetted figures.
right. That I was just going to say that adds to it, having them darkened out like that.
Yep. Yep. I think that-
Rather
Does
than
anybody else
detail out.
does anybody else feel like it's not straight? And it obviously is, because you can see the lines parallel, the horizontal lines parallel to the bottom of the shot, but the chimney looks like it's not plumb.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that I've noticed that's happening in lots of shots that I've taken where you don't know whether to make it level or plumb.
So the first thing I would do is, if you're in software that has it, apply any lens correction,
Uh-huh.
because often that's a problem with the lens or the way you shoot. So, but yeah,
What is
Also,
what is
perspective correction.
well, it could be. So there are two things going on here. One is almost certainly this is shot up, which is
Uh-huh.
a perspective correction thing. And then if there's any distortion in the lens.
That makes me think that it's been corrected for perspective from being on the ground and shooting up.
Right.
Maybe the chimney's crooked.
What does lens correction do, Graham? I'm not familiar.
Well, every lens has some sort of distortion in it, unless you're paying even when you're paying a great deal of money. So the more money you pay, the less distortion of all sorts is a generalization. But if you use Lightroom, it's really good to go in there. And if your lens is in the database, just click on the lens profile, use lens profile, and you will see the image change, and it tends to flatten it often. And you will see that, you know, it was distorted as though it was more spherical. It tends to flatten it out more. It's hard to explain without illustrating it. I'll try to remind me, and we'll try doing that live in Photoshop at some stage. Not in Photoshop, in Lightroom, and seeing if that works on a Zoom call. Okay, let us go on. All right.
UNC.
That's mine, Helen. I just thought that was a pretty shot. I told Graham to include that if we didn't have too many.
Right.
It has
Classic.
some of the distortion in it that I guess that's why I wanted to have you look at it. As you see, all of the columns aren't straight, and I didn't know about
And which camera did you use to take that, Helen?
a Canon,
Okay.
old Canon.
Right. So, yeah, works well. And I guess it constitutes as old, does it? I don't know how old it is.
2010, T1I. So-
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I meant the building.
Oh, yeah, it's hundreds of years old.
This was
But is that the fact that the columns are not all plumb? Can
Right.
that be corrected? Could that
Well, you could try. Again, that might be just tilt. That might be just tilt. But it looks as though they lean in a little. Well, that could be perspective. I would play. This is not an area where I can look at a picture and say, oh yeah, if you do X and Y, it'll work. I usually have to go and fiddle. Fiddling is good. But that one works okay.
That's why I want us to have this workshop on GIMP so I can learn how to fiddle.
Well, there you go. I don't know whether it has that stuff, does it, AJ? Does it have perspective correction?
I'm not sure. I'll have to check.
All right.
I think it does.
I also like the clarity of it, Helen. I feel like it's really, really clear.
That may be a first for me.
You found the focusing ring, Helen.
I must have been shooting on
Hey, oh,
autofocus. I think I've given up.
no. Hang in there. Hang in there. Okay, who's this one?
Wow.
Okay, that's mine, Betty. And I was, just wandering around Bynum with all the old buildings. And this door sort of caught my fancy because the modern touches of the kick plate and
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I love the balance between the old light that's hanging there and then the fallen piece of wood across the other side. It balances it very nicely.
And I
The
like,
good thing about this one is what really came home to me when I shot a lot of them, just some of the old structures in Bynum, and I thought they were pretty good at the time, and then I got them home and I kept running into that distortion problem and perspective stuff, and finally I settled on this one because it was the only one that was straight on, and I didn't have to deal with it. It really was much more of a problem than I ever realized. Now that we've mentioned it, how much.
See, that's
the reason why I don't do architectural.
Yeah,
Oh,
Graham?
Yeah.
GIMP does have perspective correction.
Okay, well, all right.
Good.
Cool. All right.
It's a snap in Affinity. It's a snap. You just grab those two corners and pull them out and then
Right.
correct it.
I heard you volunteering to show us a tutorial in Affinity. No?
I second that motion.
No, I'm a total beginner.
I like this image. I think it works really, really well. Were you on a tripod, Betty?
No. This just, my iPhone. I was kind of just exploring and walking around.
All right.
Does Photoshop Elements have anything that helps with perspective distortion stuff? Does anyone know?
Yeah, you can go in there, oops. And there's something called a skew. And take it and you can just pull it over a little bit and it'll straighten it up and fill in your frame.
Eddie, you said you shot this on an iPhone, right?
Yeah.
Well, the iPhone in the edit function has perspective correction.
Oh, you mean just straightening
Yeah, if
it
you go, if you're on the iPhone and you go to crop, you go to edit and then you select the crop tool, there are three items there. One is a circle, which will allow you to straighten the whole image, rotate. The other is they're like two parallelograms or shapes that you select one and that corrects the sides. You select the other and you can correct the top and bottom perspective. So check it out on your iPhone.
Okay.
yeah, working on it.
Great, thanks.
Yeah, and somebody asked if Element has it. It does, but it's under lens correction. It's a custom
Oh,
part
okay.
of lens correction.
Okay.
What's funny to me about the iPhone is the iPhone has perspective correction, but if you go on the photo app in the Mac, it doesn't. So
Right. Yeah, and
weird.
I was using photos on that.
Yeah.
Cool.
So one thing interesting about this photo too, is that diagonal of the light on the right and then that brass plate on the bottom and the brass in the middle. It's kind of an interesting diagonal lightness levels. And it's also kind of weird that there's this new brass on these really old decrepit doors.
Yeah, very weird. It's got a story behind it, you know, obviously.
Cool. Good job.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Wow.
Any owners? Any claimers?
Sorry, yeah, I had on mute. It's mine, Gary. And taken with an iPhone, going up to Hillsborough on the right side.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought it just came out much, if we're talking about old buildings, et cetera, it came out like an old photograph with a sepia or whatever they call it.
Right.
Just to help age the building as well, to do it in black and white.
Now, was that building actually leaning like that, or was it the way you took it? Looks like it was.
It's a combination of perspective, going across the road up a hill from a car, not moving. But also, I think there is a certain amount of downslope to the land with the building being level.
Yeah.
So maybe I should bring it a little bit more to the right down.
Well, the center tree is not pretty much plumb, but if you look on almost all the other trees getting away from it, they're at the angle, which is interesting.
Yeah.
Nice tones in there.
There are a nice range of tones. Very nice. Looks good. Good job, Gary. Okay.
Wow.
This is me. This was up on Route 87 North, north of the Central Carolina Community College. The original photograph, much more wide angle because there's another building in the background. But when I looked at it, I felt that there was so much going on with this one building that I decided to crop in and get more of the detail.
Yeah.
Where you can see on the right-hand bottom there where it's being held up by rocks.
Right.
You can see the bending of the plywoods over the windows. You can see the rubbing off of some of the wood, and you can see the wood underneath it. So I really wanted to show as much detail of what was going on versus the big wide shot.
So I think that's a good point, Bill. On a lot of these particularly old buildings, but not only old buildings, there are a huge number of pictures here. You know, you could be image making here for over an hour, I think, without any problem at all.
And actually, the next photograph that you'll see is a building, but I decided to come in closer.
Right.
What I did is I kept half of the fireplace in there, just to show at least that this was something that was either lived in or worked in. While now I'm able to grab so much more of this detail.
Right. Yep.
Now, Bill, did you walk up to the building? What was that gauge that's on the?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's what
It's a meter base. It's a meter base.
Old electric meter.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah, this picture I actually ended up taking from the street, which meant it was kind of almost like a big wide angle.
Yeah.
landscape. But luckily I can, when I crop this down, I got a lot of the detail left.
Well, you kept a lot of detail in the wood, the texture of that wood all the way around it.
That's what grabbed me, was the wood. You have the light portions, you have the dark portions, you have raw portions. It just, that's the kind of things that made me really keep looking closer into this photograph.
Nicely done, Bill.
Nice. Very good, Bill. Now that's mine, and that's also on Route 87. This, I just drove up there and I saw this house, and it was just, talk about a story. I looked at it and said, who lived there and what, was it like a store or something with you got the door and the windows on the side, but I just love the rusted roof, the metal roof with that one window with the awning kind of hanging off, and the same thing with the wood. And I did the same thing like that Bill did. I took a long wide angle of it, but then I zoomed in on it. And I like that better.
I would have liked it if the front post hadn't been cropped off. It may not be in the original picture. I don't know.
Yeah.
The post that's closest is cropped off.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Oh.
You have to go back and look at the original.
Yeah, it may be there in the original.
Yeah, so, got just like it.
But there's a lot of those up on 87.
Right. I think, again, one of the strongest recommendations I can make is use your tripod. It helps a lot because most of the cameras nowadays have a level on them that'll, let you go in at least one dimension, maybe in 2 dimensions. And getting them on a tripod slows you down a little, and it makes you be more deliberate in your image making. This works, but to me, look at the way the roof ends come in. So there's a lot of, was this a really wide angle shot, Frank?
I don't have the, no, it really wasn't a large wide angle.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah.
And again, if the intent is to emphasize that's one thing. And if you're doing record shots or architectural shots, you would want to get rid of that. But in this case, or in most of the cases we're looking at, we're doing artwork, not architectural work, I think. So, again, take your pick on how you represent it. But nicely taken. Good control of contrast. Look, this is a really high contrast day. Yeah. And I like the fact that I can see well into there.
Ah.
Cool.
Smokehouse.
Yeah, that one's mine. I think if there should be another one identical but processed differently, and I wanted to get some feedback on, which one you thought was better.
That's number 2.
There, that's the second one.
Okay, and that's number 1.
So the first one is without the filter. The second one was a Photoshop filter that I applied to it.
So the first one is as taken, Jay,
yes,
right?
Yes.
I really like this. I love the trees. These trees make it for me.
Yeah, well, for those of you that know where this is, it took me a while to get it cropped properly so that you didn't see any of the macadam or anything around it. And I took out, I think there was a light up at the top that I took out.
I was wondering where it was.
And I enhanced the interior a little bit so you could see some of the books in there.
Oh, that's nice. And that we didn't talk earlier. We talked about, when you're deciding when you histogram what to lose. With most modern cameras, it's amazing how much you can pull back out of the shadows. So those of you who've got, really up-to-date cameras, if you've got really good processing software, you can pull an incredible amount of detail out of the shadows. You might have to do some noise reduction in the shadows, but it's incredible. And again, that speaks to get your highlights right and let the shadows fall where they may, and then deal with it in post is my general approach.
And a corollary to that is you can't pull out much of anything out of the overexposure on the right side.
Exactly. So you will never pull anything out of a pure white, whereas shadows, there is often a surprising amount of detail in there. Let's have a look at the second one. That's nice. My preference is the first one, AJ. This looks a little too crunchy for me.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That was my preference after I looked at them for a while, was the first
The second one looks like it would go with a story, if you were telling a spooky story.
Okay.
There you go. There you go.
All right,
And you can
thanks.
see some of the books in there too.
Mhm.
I think for the composition, if you would have taken out that bush on the left side, it would have been better.
Yeah, I think. No, that's
Bring your
good.
chainsaw.
Yeah.
Jay. I like that you're playing too. I think it's often interesting to go from a pure image to, you know, more artistic stuff. And this as a standalone, if you only saw this image, I think you know, you would give it a big thumbs up. It's only when you get the compare and contrast. So it's nice to play. I encourage you all to play.
Yeah, for anybody in that doesn't live in Farrington or doesn't know about it, that's actually a library. It's filled with books and magazines and
What is the AJ's one?
yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Yeah, my wife picks up and drops off there all the time.
Really? Yeah.
Reader.
Okay.
The church is mine, Helen.
Okay.
I had to shoot fast and oddly because I had planned to go there, and so had a crew putting down pine straw. So, but I did shoot in black and white on purpose.
Cool. This is a nicely shot image.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicely done. These are really good, Helen.
Thank you.
You turned out some good stuff today.
Thank you.
Really, really good. I see your work developing. Is this a fairly recent photo?
Yes, I wrote out portraits, Man's Chapel, Portraits, Lamont, Norwood. I think that's on the corner.
Oh, is that the one on the on corner of Lamont Norwood?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right by me. Okay, I didn't recognize it. The one with the Airstream caravan at the side.
It's the event center now.
Ah, okay, cool. Oh, I must wander down there. I have one of my projects to come is actually to go and photograph all the churches. Although this is no longer a church, I think, isn't this a community centre now?
Event center. I think they do weddings and things like that there now.
I like this. You're obviously working hard on your image making, Helen.
I'm trying.
It's showing. No, it shows. It shows. It's really good. Really
I'm
good.
using auto exposure.
Doesn't matter. They all work. I might have thought about cropping this edge out.
On the tree.
This tree right on the edge.
Good point. Yeah.
But this is great. The stuff you've got today it's clear you're working hard and it's showing results. So that's good stuff.
Thank you.
Well done.
And that's mine.
Tell us about it.
I was shooting uphill, trying not to get run over, and it's on posted land, so I couldn't get close. I never knew there was so much posted land.
Right.
But it's just an old open barn for cattle, I assume.
Okay. I would say that the chapel one is the strongest of your images this week, and this one the weakest, I would say. I love the chapel one, and the UNC one is good. This one, I mean, it's always a struggle when you can't get where you want to be and you're shooting up at a plain sky. It's always a struggle. It's really tough.
I was just intrigued by the angles.
Right.
Dark.
Yep, that works. Keep at it. Your work's coming along.
Thank you.
You're really doing well. Okay. Anybody laying claim to this one? And of course, I don't know who it was again. So, do I? Yeah. No, I don't know who it was. Okay, I think it's fair.
I like those eyebrow windows on the side there.
Oh, is that what they're called? Okay, that's
I
nice.
believe so.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I think it's a nice shot. I don't know what the restrictions were, but a slightly different framing might have improved things a little. And leveling it, it looks like it's leaning.
Yeah.
So again, I don't know whether everybody has a tripod or not. A tripod is your best friend, particularly when you're doing work like this, because it makes you stop and think. And the other thing that I never adopted, but as I get older, maybe I will. Charlie Kramer, those of you who know Charlie Kramer's work, he walks around with a little 4x5 frame.
Oh, okay.
He does all this stuff. And he does all the thinking ahead of time. I never went quite that far, but it can help you. It slows you down. It makes you think of what you're trying to do and what you're trying to achieve and what result you want to give to your viewers. And then the deliberation of using a tripod. Once you get into it, it's a pain in the backside when you start, but once you get into it, I would rarely shoot without a tripod nowadays for subjects like this, or even in the yard. So think about it. If you don't have one, don't go and buy one, borrow one and try it and see. I would say, but it will change your photography. Ha-ha.
Now, that I don't know if anybody's been to that Stagsville plantation up north of Durham.
Uh-huh.
It's an old antebellum plantation. There's two spots on the grounds. The first one is where they have the spot where you can go in and they'll explain what's going on around there. They'll take you on a tour. But as I was leaving that spot to go to the next one, I saw this outhouse and I thought, what a great old building that would make. Even though it's been somewhat restored, you can see the wood is all new inside. But first I took it with the door closed, but then I said, you know what, it might be better if I take it with the door open. So we did it. But,
Nobody was in there.
I knocked first. Yeah, luckily nobody was.
It works. This is a good, well taken image. Again, does it look to lean slightly left? But well, it's well made. It's a nicely made image. It's well exposed. It shows you what you want to see. It's great. It's amusing.
That site was great. I'm going to add it to that list because they have the old overseer's house. They have the slaves' quarters. There's a lot to see up there.
Is that the one where they do the tours, Frank?
Yeah. They have in that green building in the back there. That's where the welcome center is.
Okay.
There was a young girl there, and like at 1, 3, and 5, they take tours and they'll open up the buildings. And we were going to tour the other site with the like 6 or 7 buildings, but it started pouring. This was on Sunday, so we left.
Cool. Well done.
Oh, thank you.
Ooh.
Wow, that's cool.
Oh, I like that one.
That's mine.
It's like that's ready to come down pretty soon.
Yeah, you can see the part to the right of the building is a bigger building that has in fact collapsed. What I really love about it,
the dark area of the roof and the darkness up top of the photograph, it's almost like having a weight on the building. It actually gives you this feeling that something is pushing that building down.
it's in our neighborhood. I'm blessed to live in a fabulous neighborhood. I just think it's
That's nice. Was that the only position you could get to, Tom? You can't get the other side of that fence?
Yeah, no, I could have gotten the other side. Yeah, I like the fence. I like the fence post.
You do? Yeah, the post is really interesting. Yep. Well, that's the choice you make when you.
One of the things that I did in this that worked out well was the broom straw, the taller grass there. I painted it with the opacity set at maybe 25%, so that it doesn't look like paint, but it brought up the color better, so that
it's a nicely made.
That was.
I like the tones and the shades in it.
And what I really liked, I didn't do anything with, was the blue on the roof, at the back end of the roof.
Yeah.
I call it blue. I don't know what you call it, but it's.
Oh, I'm with you. I'd call it blue. Very nice. That's the whole image just, it has a really nice feel to it.
Mm.
I like
Thank
it. Did you do a vignette on it?
Yes,
Yeah.
fairly heavy. It's, it's sort of old-fashioned photograph, and
It sort of
so
works.
yeah.
It works. I really like it. I
Yeah,
like
that's great.
the tones in this are beautiful. I mean, just gorgeous. Really nice. Well done, Tom.
I like the equipment in there as well. I think it adds a lot to the connection to the farming antiquity of it all.
Yeah, the combination really makes that shot.
That's a really nice feel to it. I love it. Well done.
Thank you.
Oh, you might
There's
be.
a message. Pardon?
That is it. Okay. Wow. Good job, folks. We're seeing some really, really nice work. I'm really loving what you guys are putting into it. Have you all gone to sleep?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
You're quiet.
Is there a mandate for the next meeting? What the topic is?
Well, what I was just going to do that was to discuss the next photo challenge. It's going to be tabletop. It's something that
Nobody's got any.
you can set up in your living room, any place, put it next to a window, have lights. Think of something to put on your tabletop. And one thing I wanted to mention too is that AJ has been kind to, he's going to give a presentation on GIMP. It looks like what we're going to do is probably for February 23rd, we're going to aim for it. That's not a normal members meeting. That's when the steering committee normally gets together. But we will allocate our time to that presentation, and for those all that want to be a part of it. And we'll send out more information as we go along to confirm the date, but it sounds like we're trying for the 23rd of February.
Cool.
And one other thing too is he's already left us, Mark Herbeth. He's going to try to start accumulating some of the links of the videos that we send out with the emails, and maybe categorize them and see if there's some way we can incorporate them either into Facebook or someplace where people can go back and look at them if they wish.
Cool.
That's a great
On
idea.
that, once he gets done with all his pain pills from his surgery.
All right.
Also, if you have not sent me which camera and equipment that you use, do email me that. We've compiled a list, and if I don't get any more, I'm gonna send it to Bill, and then we'll have it and send it out.
Good. Where's the background, Gary? What is your background picture?
Carcassonne in France.
Oh, very nice.
It's at nighttime.
Uh-huh.
I think it was taken from the balcony of the hotel.
Cool. Very good.
Been cropped a fair amount too.
Well, let's hope you travel soon.
Thank you, Graham. I really enjoyed the histogram chat.
Yes. I did too.
No problem. That's what we're here for. All right, folks. It's lunchtime.
Okay. Thank you.
Us all.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Also, Graham, the photographs you showed us were unbelievably beautiful. Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Well, like
I
I
never
said,
mentioned that.
when it's like I say, you just go out and practice for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
But
thank
you're
you.
only 48. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
You know, I put something on. It's really funny as you get to age. But this is an aside, completely an aside. But I put a screenshot of my credit report, part of my credit report, on my Facebook page this week, and it was saying to me, it said your age of longest credit, 24 years, 10 months. Your credit is downgraded because your credit is not long enough. Apparently, when I die, I'm going to be credit worthy. 24 years, 10 months is not long enough credit. So, yep, there you go. All right, folks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Have a good one.
Bye. Good
Enjoy.
work. Thank you.